Welcome, everybody, to Pulse Chain Times. Mr. Fast Abdoul and Neil for T-Shares. How are you guys doing today?
Doing well, man. Doing well.
All seems like a well-oiled machine, but holy moly, this is not a well-oiled machine today. I had a garbage disposal go out, sink backed up, dishwasher wouldn't flow. This is unbelievable. But here we are, streaming, thumbnail made, record time. Everybody's on stream talking crypto, counting our gains. Yeah.
Anyway, gains being relative.
Yeah.
Better than yesterday.
Very relative.
I'm using my wife's cup today, and she's has this thing is Trash Panda is called King of Trash,
Nice.
and it seems very appropriate today. Very appropriate. How you doing, Neil?
I'm doing well. So just been working around the clock. It's been a pretty long and drawn out time for us in development and everything, and working 16, 20-hour days. I mean, we are, when I say we're working around the clock, we are worldwide with our team. So we're all the way across in Philippines as well. So one of us goes to sleep, other one's awake trying to do stuff. So yeah, it's something else.
It's very people don't realize that. I don't think, unless you have done actually hopped into the development of a project, the different time. I have a video guy that's in South America, another guy that's in the UK, another guy that's in Nigeria, another guy that's in China. It's just all over the place. It's a round the clock thing, and you might have something very, very important to get dealt with, but it may not be dealt with until you wake up. Right?
Happens all the time.
Just the nature of that.
Or you're up till 4 a.m. I do that for fun sometimes because you have meetings with devs in whatever Eastern country.
If I'm up till 4, that's at least a 3 cigar day for me. If I'm up till 4, 100%.
Yep.
So today we are going to go through some Tru2X, some TrueDefi.io. We're going to go over that a little bit. Have Neil break it down for us, give us some game theory and all that good stuff. But like always, we're going to hop into some of the current news today. Let's see. Share screen. How you doing, Fast Abdoul?
Pretty good. We had that. I don't think we've talked since last week. There was that balancer hack. Hack, exploit, right? So that also kept me up till 4 or 5 in the morning.
Yeah, I bet.
So, but Pulse Chain marked safe is the bottom line on that. But as you two know, there's 2 forks of balancer on Pulse Chain, and either of them were exploitable in the end. But there was a tense 4 or 5 hours where we didn't know that, and so that was fun.
Yeah, that was pretty wild, and we'll see some of those tweets here in this. Any ones in particular that you guys would like to talk about on RH's feed?
But that one with the dancing fellow there,
Yeah,
that was
best bull market ever.
Yeah, this has been a little bonkers, right? The dips.
That might be sarcasm, guys.
Yeah, the dips in everything lately, right? We're rebounding pretty good today, which is awesome.
Totally. And Pulse Chain looks better than Ethereum. I noticed that last couple days. If you look at the WETH to Pulse chart, right, you're getting more WETH per Pulse than you have recently.
Yeah,
I retweeted that, so let's take a look at that. You put that up yesterday.
Yep. There it is.
There it is, right there. That is pretty awesome, right there.
Yep.
I think that's going to continue. Like, it'll have ups and downs, obviously, but yeah, Pulse Chain to ETH looking better.
And what do you attribute that to, you guys?
Diamond freaking hand.
Yeah.
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 So Ethereum went down, obviously. So compared to Pulse, the percentage going down, the ratio would go up. That's just how it works, just mathematically. We only went down a little bit compared to ETH as far as percentage wise. So that's it's math.
Like there's bonded liquidity that would pull Pulse down with ETH to some degree, not all the liquidity, obviously. But it means that people also aren't by and large trading their Pulse for discounted ETH.
Correct.
I know I had some choices to make last night because I had to pull a little bit of money out. And I had a choice between some tokens and Pulse, right? And I chose some tokens. That's the way that goes.
Mm-hmm.
It aches
like on what to sell.
Yeah, that always aches my soul what to sell. I have a trip coming up, and I have to make sure that there's funds available for that trip going to Florida here shortly. So that should be fun. But yeah, little brutal past couple days, that's for sure.
Yeah.
What else do we have on Richard Hart? What did he do today? Do you guys think that the pump that we're seeing today has anything to do with any of the ETH that went through the tornado cash?
It didn't appear to be, as far as looking at the numbers. I didn't see any big bridge activity either come across. So it just
There's bridging in the past, though. Like it could be something sitting there, but that would have been reported if it was like known $1 million wallets. But I don't know. Maybe Richard got good at it, and he's not bridging 100 ETH clips over, and people haven't noticed the buyers. That's possible.
That would be the smart way to do that, right?
Yeah.
Bring over like 10 ETH at a time or a couple ETH at a time, different wallets.
Like one ETH, 1,000 wallets, right? Like, like you gotta, like, what's the cap where people aren't watching? Like who's putting up their hand and saying like, oh, look, there was $3,000 bridge to Pulse Chain here, right? Like that's the line. It's like one ETH worth.
And unlike before, I really don't have time to freaking deep dive any of this stuff.
Right.
There was a time when I would go and research, look at blah 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 blah. I don't have time to do that. It's just I rely on Twitter or X to fill me in on where the money comes from. A handful of people I follow usually have a pretty good eye for where these funds are coming from, but I haven't seen any posts lately.
That crypto solve fellow, he's the one that I see that from. But I also, I follow people. I don't deep dive myself. It's too much work.
Yeah, it's too much.
It's just too much to do. I mean, it's just to follow all these wallets. That's I'd rather have one source I can trust. So, hey, look, it's okay. We had a big bridge come in or out. Okay, fine. That's satisfactory. I understand what's going on. It's just the whole market though is kind of wanky. So we look at stuff going on. We see what Richard's talking about. He's kind of being kind of cute with some of his posts, and I just wonder sometimes if he's just if he's looking at the macro like we are, and he's like, these people just don't understand. The time is not now, or he's like plotting some, behind the scenes, just, hey, let me just, blow up crypto with these God candles. Who knows?
I think it's kind of important that by and large, we don't know what the time is.
Right. Yeah, I agree.
Right. Like we can't, if for this one, we can't have a date on I'd like to personally have a date on the calendar, but yeah, the community at large cannot have a date on the calendar for when Richard will pump the chain.
What'd you think of this? L1s are much better than L2s.
Agreed.
I agree with that. I love L1s for the most part.
I learned yesterday that Ethereum put through an update that's reducing the amount of fees that flow to L2s.
Really?
It seems like it would be bullish for Ethereum and bearish for L2s.
And there's so many L2s that ride on Ethereum, it's not even funny.
Totally. And they're totally like taking income right off that chain. which maybe was necessary at one point in time because, $1,000 transactions and that sort of thing. But
shout out to Paul's Chain for getting the Ethereum fee so low. I love taking credit for stuff.
yeah, 100% us.
Good stuff. Let's see what SJ's doing. SJ is the monarch of shipping these days. She's
Indeed.
a titan. She's been doing some wild stuff lately, and it does seem like some things are moving around. Nothing, no real updates. Good to see she's getting out to the gym. But I was just down there a little while ago. Was a great a couple days, and we shipped a lot of we moved a lot of boxes, shipped a few things, but I believe the shipping is picking back up the other day because a room that I'm in with her said we need all hands on deck for getting packages out. So that's awesome. Good job, SJ. Give you a shout out in here anytime we can. So if you need any more help, give us a holler. If you would like to help SJ, contact either Fast Abdoul or I. We can get you in that room and get you associated with that group where they have a calendar and when would you like to go in and help out, ship stuff. I have a lot of people that contact me on a weekly basis that say, how can I help? And I always say, well, what do you want to do? Right. But a lot of them want to go down there and just be a part of the shipping process, which I think is kind of cool because it is somewhat epic. I don't think anybody has ever done this before. It's pretty badass.
There's a lot of boxes, a lot of tablets.
Yeah.
I think when those things get to critical mass, we're going to start seeing X explode with people who are like, what the hell is this? And so on and so forth. And we're trained by, because very few of the tablets have come out so far compared to what will come out. So the community is trained to respond to people who post, I received this in the mail. And so when they start coming out like 20, 50 posts a day like that from strangers, like we're going to be freaking on it. And it will, that should work. So it's actually good that they came out slow. So we really embraced every single one that happened. When they start coming out fast, and we're seeing like bang, 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 other posts of people posting pictures of their scablet, their tablet. Oh, I got this scam in the mail, or what's Pulse Chain, or just regular things that we see people saying. We're going to be on top of it.
100%.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's just one of those things that, how you think about marketing and you see the name of something in front of you all the time, regardless if you use it or not, want to take part in the product or the service, it becomes part of your mental background, right? I remember as a kid, there was just these commercials that from local businesses that to this day I could probably sing the tune, not because I ever shopped there, but it's just part of your what's in your head. So seeing these images and stuff like that, it really reinforces that, things are legitimate, even though people may not connect the dots or may not even use crypto, but they'll appreciate, hey, I know about that Pulse Chain thing. It's pretty cool. Or the Hex thing.
It's pretty cool. I like it. And that's a good transition. By the way, if you guys are still watching videos, I believe after this stream, RH Max has a stream. I think he'll have some good information. Always a solid, positive dude. And if you're having issues with any of the ups and downs lately, RH Max streams will get your thinking back in line, I believe. So if you have a chance to watch a stream after this one, tune in to RH Max afterwards. But a transition into RH tickers, let's talk a little bit about True DeFi. Any other stuff in here that you guys wanted to chat about, or should we just transition into what Neil's here for?
Maybe take a look at that one Xavier post I just dropped in there for you.
Okay. Copy link. There we go. Singapore Pulse Chain Conference.
I think that may be an exaggeration, but this crypto Sojin fellow there, you can click the YouTube link. You'll see he's he's set up and at different at conferences, and I don't think they're just pulse chain related, but like he started making videos. So it's just a new guy people might want to keep an eye on. He's kind of smooth. He's kind of funny.
That's good.
To Crypto Sojan, everyone. I'm in token 2049, Singapore right now.
Very cool. But
he's just a community member, right? Who's doing this? Like we can see that, he's not super big. He's got whatever 500, no less. Relatively few followers. 307 subscribers, but he took it upon himself to go to a crypto conference in Singapore and talk to people about Pulse Chain.
That's awesome.
It's just
viral
activity.
If you want, put that link in chat, buddy, so other people can subscribe to this dude. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's really good. I will say, just you're on like Twitter or X and all these social media platforms. You look at different things. We do have one of probably the loudest, most I guess well-known, at least for us, they seem to be most well-known community people who are willing to come out here and talk about the chain, talk about what we're building, and why we think we're better, and at least in decentralized and all the things. So I do say that if you look at as a whole, the macro as a whole of all the chains and what's going on, Pulse Chain is it. Our community is one of the top communities I've ever seen. Just really out here, hitting the day every day, putting out the tweets, putting out the likes on TikTok and all the other things to get the word out.
100% true. I don't see any other communities doing that, and I have a little feelers out in some of those communities, and I obviously follow them on X, and it's definitely not as noisy as Pulse Chain. That's 100% true.
No one is.
Nobody.
The noise is getting a little more, I want to say, coherent, and generally speaking, more polite. I think our level of diplomacy as a community, on average, is going up. We can see that with the responses to the tablet people and stuff like that. There's obviously a couple exceptions. I'm sure you have some names, but so far so good. I'm pleased.
Yeah, it's good stuff. Good stuff. So Neil, what are you up to, buddy? I know that you guys have been working on this thing for a while.
2 years.
Yeah, I know the pain, my friend. I know the pain.
Yes. Oh yeah, we all do. I mean, everybody here, we all know it takes time and effort to develop, to do things right. Go through the process, security, etc. All the things. And I'll give you, a quick kind of rundown. 2 years ago, I was approached by Daniel, Token Rodder. He called me up and we chatted about he had an idea, and he come from other communities in the past and been in crypto a while, and so he has FairHex, this other protocol he's already developed, and he would come to me and say, look, I have some ideas, but they don't seem to be working out, or I can't quite get some stuff down. And so we kind of had a talk and discuss some things, and he approached it from the old auction houses in the past, and how they worked and how popular they were. And I said, well, look, you have a concept here. Let's think this through. And so, during the course of the back and forth conversations and just kind of thinking about how things work, we decided we could come up with something that would be profitable for the people, the average person to use, that wouldn't be a drain on the cores or anything like that, and ultimately help Pulse Chain as a whole with the DeFi service. And I said, well, what came out of it was what we have now with Tru2X. And so in the end, what Tru2X has come to be is auction house model DeFi service tool. And what we've just done is we've taken the concept of the auction house, which is basically everybody's bidding on a share rate for their daily yield allocation. That's really how it works out. There's no physical shares, nothing to buy. There's no token that you need to swap your pulse for. You basically take your pulse you have in your wallet, you deposit it into the system, and you can mine pulse from the system and receive up to a 2x. And there's reasons we did all the things we've done, because we did a whole bunch of mathematical models asking ourselves different things and different questions about what's the best way to do this. How do I as a user want to be rewarded for putting my tokens into a contract? But I want a secondary token. Well, that has problems with liquidity, and we all know that's really tough to keep liquidity up and price up when you have a token. So we said, well, let's not have a token. So that kind of brought us to where, hey, we have cores. Everybody likes their cores. We know Richard Hart loves his cores, and it's plenty of liquidity. Therefore, this is something that we could utilize instead of any other token. So that made us decide that we won't have any token in the system, nor did we have a sacrifice. Everything we're doing is a self-funded project and self-developed. Our dev is working, and everything we've done is basically from scratch. We got inspiration from things in the past, like Hex and a few other contracts, but all the code is from scratch, and it's very difficult, time-consuming to go through, and it's very math-heavy given the type of system it is. And it's something that we're proud of, because we've finally come to the end of this thing. It's like, yeah, this stuff works. It works well. It's been tested up and down thousands upon thousands of times. Literally, it's just that many times it's been run through the ringer in the systems. We've had a couple audits along the way to kind of make sure everything's on the up and up with all that stuff and focused. And do plan on verifying the contract when we launch as well. So it's been a labor of love for us, because there's a problem solving aspect to all this we can develop. And when you get into the code, looking at things, how do you solve problems, not just with code, but strategies or concepts? What makes things work better? And we are here where we are now with Tru2X in this auction house model. So for the user, their experience would be they'd come in, they make the deposit into the system, and because we work on a 24-hour cycle, the next day they are able to take that deposit and get their miner and deploy it into the contract. And the following day, that miner is earning yield, and you can see it on the system card. It tells you how much you've earned for that for that one day in the system. And then they have the option then to either take that yield and just leave it, not touch it, and just let it run to its maximum 2x ROI, or they can then compound it manually or auto compound it if they want to have different reasons. Then when persons deploy miners, they have options to have up to 20 miners per card. So divide their deposit up into 20 different mini miners. They can say, I want to compound some, not the others. I want to auto compound a few and let them run, stuff like that. And then then they can just then when it matures and gets to the 2x or before their choice, they can exit, leave the system, and take their pulse. There's no penalty to exit early. It's just that you exit with what you have on the system. So if you get out, you leave before you mature to at least a break-even point, that's on you. We don't, we can't stop you, but we do warn you, hey, you haven't made your deposit back. So it is a warning label when people do try to leave.
So what is the fee someone would face in that case?
It's just wherever they are in the system. If they put in $100 and they've only earned 20 in yield, that's on them.
Right. Okay. So you have to earn your whole nut back before you're break even, right? So if I put in $100 to the pulse and then immediately exited, I've probably earned $0.
Yes,
that would be a bad plan.
Yes, but we do have a program called the Miner Buyback Program, and we've developed this for people who get in a bond. And so it'll be it's internal contract function that will allow people, when they choose to, once they hit a 0.3x in return up to a 0.88x, they can request their deposit back and will be paid in full. So so you can get out if you get started after, say, a couple of weeks, I need to get my money back. You can get out, and we basically buy back your miner from you. You return your whole 1x back. And so that's something that you don't see anywhere else, because it's difficult, but we have mechanisms in place that allow us to do this. But we also have mechanisms in place so it won't be abused either. So obviously it's not an endless supply or anything like that. But it does allow people to get out. If they do get in a bind, they can leave and not have to take a loss or anything like that.
So if the system is receiving pulse, where's the yield coming from?
All right. The yield comes from a couple places. So the 80% of the system pulse stays within the contract in the mining pool. So all deposits come in, 8% of all deposits that stays within the contract, and people are basically withdrawing from that pool from all the pulse being deposited. The second place is the SRE. The SRE is called the Strategic Reserve Engine. I think Abdoul sometimes calls it a treasury, but it's basically a system of yield generation that sits outside the system, takes the yield and brings it back to the system into the mining pool for people to draw from. So that yield then is just, and it's perpetual and it grows every day. So that Strategic Reserve Engine every day receives 14% of the yield, of the deposits, and it transmits that into a yield-bearing strategy, and it gets bigger and bigger every day. So on day one, it's small. On day 100, it'd be 100 days worth of yield every day of deposits of 14%. So you can imagine the return it will do in 100 days versus day one, right? So it's going to contribute more and more to the system as time goes on. And because we put limits on the system, and there's a maximum amount of deposits any one wallet can do, there's a maximum global deposit on the days. So we have basically put guardrails up to keep too many people coming in at any one time, or massive whales coming in and hogging up the system. And this keeps the system fair for the average person. So a small person compete with the whales and come in, because every day that transpires, the entire day group is at the same 2x or X factor earning point. So if you're in day 25, everybody is at the same point. Let's say it's a 0.3x or 0.5x or whatever. Everybody's at the same point in yield. So they all will exit at the same time. And so that on day, whatever's day 50, they all exit. And so they're all going as one batch. And now the system has X number of people less it has to satisfy with yield earnings. So that's the second way, one of the other way the yield's coming in. The third way is we have what's called 1XR miners. These are miners that sit in the system and they belong to the system, and they automatically go through the system and they exit at a 1x. This is important because they make a deposit like every other user would, but they don't take anything out of yield. They leave at 1x or 1.01 or something like that, just right past the 1x. And that miner then pulls this money out, it breaks even, and it goes back in the next day. Make another deposit. And what's
the benefit that's paying out a portion of that deposit's going to the
14%.
The other users. Okay.
Yeah, it's the same. It's the same thing. It makes its deposit. It goes into the mining pool. When it breaks even, it pulls itself out and it goes back in again. So it's like it's somebody who's basically acting benevolently. They're just constantly feeding the system with more pulse. And what that does is when you add up all the users, if X number of organic users are going for a 2x and these are going for a 1x, the average overall liability of the system is less than 2x. And which makes it easier and faster for everybody who does want to participate to 2x, because it's not about if you get your 2x, it's all about when. We guarantee a 2x to every user. We just can't guarantee when it's going to happen because it's a function of the whole global chains of health and stuff like that. So in auction house models, obviously the first few weeks are the fastest time you could possibly 2x your bag. There's no doubt about it. We know that. The math has said it over and over again to us that the first in, usually 2x the fastest. But even people who come in on day 200 will still 2x eventually. Now, we don't know when and how fast, but they will have 200 days of the SRE growth, putting fresh pulse back from the outside back into the system to draw from. So we know that based upon our models that eventually, because the guardrails we put up, that there will be a point in time when the SRE deposits will be greater than user deposits, thus shrinking the amount of time it takes to 2x to a certain probably slot of time that eventually, say in theory, every 30 days you could 2x if you use the system, because it'd be that big. And then the fourth thing we generate yield with is the integration amplifier. it's a partnership program we have with any crypto project, whether it's MCR or 2X or Inkprint or whatever, could utilize the referral ID links that we would give from the partners. And this is a benefit to the protocols, because what it does is it allows a protocol who say, hey, all my people in my part of this protocol use this referrer ID when you use Tru2X. You get every user will get us 2X. They will get a 5% bonus, which will double to 10, and then 10%. That 10% bonus that's associated with that ID is held in a managed wallet on behalf of the protocol that automatically and perpetually compounds at a 75% rate. And the 25% it earns on every 2X cycle market buys a token for the protocol. So if MCR1 had a link, they could utilize it. People could use it. They get their 2X. MCR would then automatically have a buy pressure on that token, perpetually growing every time that the cycle goes through 2X. Now, I've done videos on this, explain the math and see how this works. Now, this is not an overnight thing, obviously, but it will basically gradually get you more and more buy pressure over time. And so we tell people, look, if you think about it, you could have an army of miners working for your protocol, but you utilizing these referral IDs and then you have perpetual buy pressure. So on the next cycle we go through, you have buy pressure that's already in the tank. You don't have to worry about your project going to zero. You always have somebody buying it, and those tokens can either be distributed back to the users who participate, or they can be burnt. The choice is up to the protocol heads how they want to do that.
I think this could be an overnight thing for some people who get in early. Obviously, it could take much longer for some people who don't. What do you think of that? Like, is there an advantage to being in early when this launches?
Oh yeah. There's no doubt about it. Yeah. Like I said, the fastest time to 2X is the first couple of weeks. There's just the math says so. It's not like you want 2X, but if you think about if you just want to 2X and leave, that's fine. That's what the whole protocol is there for. We don't care about it to us. But if people want to grow their bags and they want a place to put it without having impermanent loss risk or trading risk, that's what we're offering. Because we're not trading. You don't have to worry about losing value of through trading fees or through some kind of arbitrage event. But now, if Pulse goes down in value, we do basically act as a 50% stop loss, because you double it. So if you put it in today and it goes down 50%, you still break even in dollar terms, and that's kind of what it does. And as far as that. So but if you think longer term, if you have a longer term view, if you get in early, you get a 2X, then another 2X, then maybe another 2X before the end of the year. That's 8X. That's not bad. Where else can you 8X your bag relatively quickly, even if it takes you 2 years? That's still a lot. I mean, heck, we all we love to double.
Like, it's not going to work out like that for everybody, obviously, right? I'm
not
saying
no. I'm talking about day one people.
That way, but
yeah, let's say you get into the first couple of weeks. If you're like the early users, you will have more 2Xs behind you than the people coming later. There's no doubt about it. I mean, you can't. There's no way to get everybody the same thing. But the system will keep working regardless of as people come in. And even if we know that, and our models show this, we've already proven this. If nobody participates, everybody would see on day 200 just leaves, stops depositing, they get the 2X and leave. The system will still autonomously work by itself. It doesn't need new users. It already has the 1X miners and the SRE feeding fresh pulse in and rotating through. So it just feed itself and just roll through it. So we don't even have to have even new users after a certain point. It just does what it does and grows at the rate it will grow based upon the SRE deposits. So this is something that's never really been done before that we can find. We've looked and searched, and we think we have something that's unique to crypto because we're providing not only the service to the user, but protocols now have a cash flow option they can utilize, even with their own treasury. They just want to put part of their treasury in and then double it, and then now have perpetual buy on their token is also an option. And every pump tire users can now have added utility to their meme coin that they launch. They can have an ID link for their meme coin, and their users because have it. Now they have a buy pressure on their meme coin and give it utility.
That does sound interesting.
Yeah, that does. How does the team make money on this? And this isn't just we ask this of everybody that comes on, so we know that this is a thing that you guys can afford to do for a period of time, right? We don't stay broke, right?
Well, there's three splits. The 80% stays in the system, 14% goes to the SRE, 6% is then split with overhead cost and team. So we're the cost of all the servers we're paying for, and all the other things like Cloudflare and stuff like that. Cost money, right?
Yeah.
So that's where the money comes from, and so that's how that team gets paid, and obviously over time being reimbursed for all our expenses.
Nice.
So, and we also want to use it ourselves. We are internally and individually wanting to use our own product because we see it work and all the tests, and we're excited about using it ourselves. I have a bag of poles sitting on the side. I'm ready to put in my own tool because I want to double it.
That makes 100% sense. It's what I did with my protocols. I'm sure that's what Fast did with his. We use our own stuff. If you're not going to build something that you're planning on using, I would say you're planning on building a rug. 100%, right? So I've always built stuff that I've almost every time gone all in on my stuff, right? It makes sense. This question, Triplet, don't forget to pull. There are tokens on pull 13. That's a steakhouse thing right there, guys. Sorry, I pulled that up. I didn't realize those are in my wallet. I thought I pulled all my tokens out. I'll take a look. Let's see, what else do we have here? We just have some mind-blowing stuff from AJ. How you doing, AJ? Thanks everybody in chat for showing up. It's pretty awesome. We've got a lot of people in chat today. Very, very cool. So where do you see this? Do you think it dies off in 200 days? What longevity wise? How do you see this thing going long term?
Well, we built it to be multi-cycle, actually, because of how the SRE functions, and it brings fresh capital in, and we don't have to have new users coming in. It will just keep churning. And this is not the only this tool we're building is not the only tool we're building. After this one's out and done, we're going to build the same tool, but just the token will be different. We'll use Pulse X. You can double your Pulse X. So what the technology is done and improving, people will see, oh, I get how it works now. And we expect the second one to be probably more popular than the first just because of it's newer and people have more opportunity to 2X quicker, right? Basically. Right. And we plan on building a series of these tools to basically double the core tokens. And eventually we go multi-chain as well. So we are not limiting ourselves to anything. These because of we don't have to worry about a token price going to zero or anything like that, or liquidity to manage. It's basically I would say nearly self-perpetual machine at a certain point. It just rotates back and forth within itself because there's always fresh capital coming in. If it wasn't for that, then it would just basically dwindle through diminishing returns. But we've solved that problem with external yield generation. That makes a big difference in how you design systems on DeFi.
I know some of these protocols in the past died off, and then they were revived by core groups that started them back up again, independent of other people. It was kind of interesting to see that, almost like a community takeover of a protocol. It was kind of cool to see. I have seen that in the past.
Yeah, I think what we anticipate seeing is as the new shiny object comes on board. That's fine. People chase things. We tell people, look, hey, if after you use it, you get a 2X or 2. And you want to leave, go ahead. It doesn't hurt us one bit because this machine still runs. And so do what you want to do. It's your tokens. Have at it. Use a tool for your advantage to get your 2X. And it'll still be here. And we're building it to run because we know that at a certain point that as more people leave, the faster 2Xs occur within the system. So the fewer people that are owed a 2X, those who are in there get theirs faster. And you'll see that
when people leave. If they leave early, and they're leaving some money on the table, so to speak, that money goes towards the 2x of other people.
Yeah, it just sits in the pool. They just don't get their yield from the pool. That's all it is.
Okay. Yeah, fair
So
enough. And then,
yeah.
like, could you summarize? So, aside from new users coming in, what are the other revenue sources?
So it was the SRE, which is external yield generation, the
Yeah.
1XR wallets, which are internal wallets that just roll through that provide deposits and leave it a 1X. And then the integration amplifier, which is perpetual miners on behalf of partnering protocols that go to a 2X every time and then reset, do it again, and reset, and do it again. And they compound at a 75% rate. So those
And
three
do
things
you have
alone
any,
bring constant deposits.
do you have any type of is there any validators or anything where some of this pulse would be reapothecated into a validator or something like that, or is that on the roadmap or anything like that?
That's part of the roadmap is for the future, but at the beginning, we would utilize the like Vouch and stuff for yield
I
generation
love
as well.
that.
So me too. I mean, I love Jackson, those guys. I mean, and so that's part of our plan is part of the proceeds. So I have a few other things up my sleeve I can't talk about now about yield generation that's going to come out in the future, but we got some exciting stuff come along that's going to really. We're slowly building an ecosystem is what we're doing. This is going to be our foundational product and products, these multiple tools, not just for the Pulse, with Pulse X and stuff like that. So as we build these things out, there will be options that will be made available to us to do other things, to have a more DeFi protocols that people can utilize to make yield. Because everybody knows I'm a DeFi guy. That's all I'm about. I love this stuff. I'm not a big time trader. I just that doesn't really appeal to me on time, but I do like DeFi. I like earning yield on my money. And so we're looking. My whole team is this way. So we're really looking at how to really leverage the system and with the proper technical expertise to get all you can out of it without hurting your neighbor. So it's not PvP, right? We're not trying to beat each other up, and that's hard to do because it's by nature, crypto is PvP. We're all trading against each other at some point in time, right? If any day you pick this, you want to sell. Oh, you hurt my bag. That's okay. I may buy your bag too. So that it's just back and forth that we're going to have that just exists. And, it's not any animosity, it's just like stocks or anything else. But if you can do it, if you can build systems in such a way that you can't hurt people or they hurt less, well, that helps. To me, I like that. And that's kind of where our mindset is.
So the internal wallets, that concept interests me. What was your term for that again? The ones that get out at the 1x?
Oh, the 1XR.
Okay, so those 1XRs, which are initially provided by the team.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so like how many are there? Or is it or what
There
volume?
will be multiple as they grow. It's not just
Okay.
one. I mean, there'll be several as time goes on. Remember, we have limits, so they have to be within our own guide rail. So as we get close to the limit, we'll pull the next one. Say add a new wallet, then add a new wallet. It's an automatic thing.
How do they grow? Like, is that a manual process, automatic?
They are they grow from the part of the SRE disbursements would go to some of those as well. Depends. It's small percentages. They get a little bit from the SRE from yield and stuff. They grow that way. So it's from the external yield they get their funds. So they grow slowly themselves as time goes on. Through SRE.
And are they guaranteed to persist forever?
No, because they could compete too much with users. We want to make sure the users get the best deal. So therefore, we want to make sure that if they get too heavy, we can pull those funds out and just make a deposit into the system and just kill one. Let's say, let it just die. So it does not hurting the users because they also are competing for the shares. Because it's an auction house model, people are getting shares per day. Those shares represent their percentage of yield they get for that day group. Well, if the miners get too big, they take all the shares. There's none left for everybody else, right? We want to make sure that people have access to the shares too. So we don't want to then hog up all the shares. So there's something in that we obviously will have to manage that to make sure that as time goes on that the people aren't hurt. But they always will be there doing something because they generate the enough X factor averaging to keep the X factor within a certain range. And our goal is to have around a 1.3 to 1.5 average X factor for all miners in the whole system.
What made you choose the 200 days?
There's no 200 days. That was just a hypothetical.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah,
the 2X doesn't necessarily. I thought there was a thing where you said it would 2X within 200 days. Those first miners. That was just hypothetical.
Yeah. Just I can't predict the future. There's a lot of things that can affect the time of 2X.
Right.
Our models have showed us that within the first 14 days, the day one miners almost always 2X. That's just the math.
Right.
Because of how the math works. But after that, it's a real variable because you just don't know how many people will come back in. The SRE is slowly getting bigger, and depending on the market and yield it can generate, and all those things, the price of pulse, all that affects it. And also how many more people are coming in, how big the 1XR is getting. So there's a lot of factors involved that dictate the time of 2X for day 2, day 3, day 4 people. So maybe 18 days, maybe 25 days for day 2, then add another 5, 10, 15 days for day 3. It just depends. Maybe day 4 and day 5 come in almost the same time because, somebody come in with a lot more pulse on day 25. Who knows? I mean, there's a lot of things that affect the 2X time in shortening it.
So some of those other protocols that I was involved with, I saw people coming in with big bags like 30 days in, and it was absolutely crazy.
That was on Tron, right?
There was one on Tron, and there's been variations of this all over BNB in different flavors, right? And I would even say that drip is fits in this category. Yeah, in this category for sure. But there's people that there was a Telegram room a while back that was called the Hex Drip Tiki Room, right? There was a lot of hexagons in drip. Yeah. They may have been pro hex, pro this, pro that, but there was people making bank on drip. And actually drip is how I got introduced to Richard Hart, truthfully. I was following some guys on YouTube. They said that, you guys think I made a lot of money on this drip stuff, but I actually made most of my money on Hex, and the founder Richard Hart's coming out with a chain. I was down for that 100% as soon as I heard it. And that's probably where I was talking to you in those chats. You've been here since the freaking beginning, Neil, right?
Yep, exactly. I got into Hex in 2020, something I can't remember. It was around a nickel when I bought it first, the first nickel, right?
I think mine was 11 cents. I used to have it on my profile that I'm a day 601 hexagon. I went back in my wallets and checked.
886 would have been better.
Yeah, it would have been. 601 is the best I could do.
But we did look at drip in the past. We kind of, those were things we looked at, and we asked several questions like, why do these things fail? Those are the questions you ask when you build stuff, right? Like, well, why does this not work somewhere else? And then we looked at different negative externalities. A lot of times, most of it had to do with the token and LP. That's usually what is the hardest part. And then having to have new users come in. And we all know without volume, you're dead. There's nothing can work without volume. Right, you have to have somebody coming in doing something. Well, because of the 1XR miners and the SRE, I think we've cracked the code on volume. Because if you don't have to have new people coming in at a certain point, then it can be self-sustaining. Now, it may not be gangbusters, but it doesn't go to zero either, and that's important. Because if you look at all the systems and all the price charts and everything out there, there's basically 3 ways to make yield and stuff or make things work. You got buy and burns, you got some kind of staking type of system, and you got tax tokens. That's pretty much the 3 ways to do it. And besides memes and just selling and self. But as far as DeFi, those are kind of the mechanisms that most things have in it, those 3. And we said, well, they all work in some form. Even all 3 of them work together have some positive thing. They can make some cool stuff. Lots of flywheels and whatnot, but they all still are function they stop at volume. They just can't work. And that's the biggest issue. Like when the volume dries up, all the systems
Somebody's
drop.
left holding the bag, right? And that's
Right.
what we've seen on other chains, TripletDad, right? Like those eventually exploded more or less.
Yeah, or they try to have a use case, but the other drip, for example, had 4X Shark came out with Animal Farm after that, right? And started creating the ways to create use cases for that token and get a huge farming system with dogs and pigs and freaking plant flowers and all kinds of crazy stuff. Right? I was in it. It was a big deal. People were making a boatload of money though.
Oh yeah, but eventually though, what happens is there's a dilution effect, right? And things get slowly diluted over time. If you have new people coming in and people made their money, like, all right, I'm taking my profits, and the last guy in is then he's exit liquidity, and it kind of like it fizzles out. And so we design our system so that won't happen. So we can't guarantee everybody a 2x because it will 2x. Can't say when, but it will eventually. And that's because of the mechanisms we built within the system. So I'm confident what we built as far on a technical level, but it means this is something unique, and I can't find anything else like this what we built out in the systems of anything else on any DeFi network anywhere. It just is that different, and it's takes 2 years to make it different too. It's a lot of thinking we had to go through, and a lot of math to really think through how people want to use it and how not to hurt the user, so they can always gain a benefit of something. And because we have a token, it's just your pulse. So we all love Pulse. We want to see Pulse succeed. Not only are we going to do what we do with it, but all the Pulse that we enter contract is not being sold because guess what? It's locked up until people 2x. And all the fun.
If everything's still in the system except for 6% for the team, and it's constantly rehashing itself, right? Even the last guy should be 6% down, if that.
Ideally, the last guy might be one of the 1XR wallets, right?
Yeah.
So
that's what would happen. Yeah. The last person 2x's and they're out. So once you get your 2x, you can't earn any more. You're out. You're done. You're not automatically exited, but you can't earn any more yield. So that's it.
Those 1XR wallets are what could give this multi-cycle potential, in my opinion.
That is this quote unquote secret sauce, so to speak, of the mechanism that allows this thing perpetual motion, so to speak, or perpetual returns, because it just cycles within itself. And because there's fresh capital coming in from outside, it's not just taking the same pulse and rotating it; it's taking new pulse and adding it to the bag and then rotating it. That's a big difference.
Like from an outside perspective, it's kind of like the team or the protocol holding the bag at the point where it starts to slow down, right? So instead of like more users holding the bag when it slows down, because it will slow down eventually in a cyclic period at the very least, right? Like if we're talking multi-cycle, it could up down with cycles, which would be for this kind of thing would be good. And if there's going to be somebody holding the bag who's waiting longer, and if that's 1XR wallets, then that could see it through to the next cycle where it could rev up again, right? And then and continue.
But remember, if the 1XR is by itself, or there's one person with the 1XR, they're going to 2x way faster than even people in the beginning, because the SRE is contributing a lot more than that one person is contributing every day. So you put in, say, $10,000 on day, say 500, for instance, the 1XR's got 500 days of growth. All right, it's that, but 500 days bigger in its mass. Therefore, its contributions will be way more than that one guy's $10,000 deposit on day 500. So that guy's going to probably 2x within a couple of days.
My only concern there is, like I asked earlier, if the 1XR wallets were perpetual, right? Like, or whether they're guaranteed all the time, right? And you said that they weren't. So like it's sort of like, and I trust you, I know you, but like just from an outside perspective looking in, it sounds like the team would have an option of, okay, let's not put any more 1XRs in because things are slowing down, which leaves the bag being held by somebody else.
No, that won't happen. It won't be disappear forever. When I say they can be reduced in size, but if nobody's in it, it's important to us to leave them in, right? We want them in there to run the system, but we're talking about like large amounts too. We're not talking about just small things. We're talking about very large amounts of pulse going in. We're talking about billions of pulse every day, kind of going through the system. So we're not talking about, if people stop using it, we'll just let it run for a while. But remember, the system's got a cap, so we have to pull a few back so we won't hit our own guardrails. So there's room for people to get in, is the point, right? We don't want to flush people out where they can't get in because these things are so big. So we have to be able to pull them back in their impact unless, now, let's say in the future, there's tons of users. We may not even need a 1XR. It may be more users than the XRs needed. We can just retire them and start them back up later. Those are the things we can't answer. We just don't know the future. So if there's tons of people using it, maybe they don't want the competition. They say, hey, let's just pull this thing off for us. No problem. We just deposit the money in the pulse in the mining pool and let people just play organically and only have the SRE then. Those are options, but we can't predict the future, know what exactly the adoption will be. And then maybe the second tool, maybe the PulseX tool, the 1XRs aren't as impactful because there's more people. Who knows? I mean, I can't, we don't know how the people will look at this and say, hey, I like this or I don't like it, or man, I can get my 2 or 3 2Xs within a short period of time and I'm out. And I'm happy.
And when we say 2Xs, we're talking 2Xs in pulse terms, right?
Correct.
Not dollars,
yes.
right? So you put in $1 million, pull a 2 million pulse, not
exactly.
Yeah, not depending the value. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we stay away from any monetary issues or price fees, because that complicates things just dramatically on a technical level for the math, as well as just who wants to be worried about pricing. So 1 pulse in, 2 pulse out. That's what we guarantee if you use a product.
It's not just a degen thing either, right? I do know that a protocol that Fast and I are very familiar with, Liquidy did something like this called chicken bonds.
That's right. Yeah.
And
I remember those.
Which was a freaking really weird name for somebody that's trying to stay financially focused. Right? Let's just put it that way. and to name their thing chicken bonds, because it doesn't even rhyme or match or meet the same criteria as Liquidy, right? But the chicken bonds, I think they were having liquidity issues with the stable coin is what it was, I believe. But you were able to put tokens in that and they would accrue, very similar to these types of things. But and that's a major financial protocol, right? That was on Ethereum. You were paying money to post those transactions because fees were still high. They were probably on the first 100, the first page of CoinGecko. It was it's not a small protocol that deploys actions like this. So I hope you guys have some success. I know I had Thai food yesterday with Randy and Annabelle and Max, and he's interested, right? He's going in. Yeah. Randy's going in. 100%.
Yeah, we talked to Randy and stuff. Executioner's on our team, and he's obviously in there with the guys and explain it on one of their private chats how it works and everything. So everybody kind of is up to speed on the technicals and what we're doing and why we're building what we're building. So I mean, it's just one of those things that I'm really careful about. And especially since I'm part of the development process, that what we're doing is straightforward. And because there's no token, anything like that, there's no, we're not trying to rug anybody or dump anybody's heads with LP, anything like that. So there's none of those risks that are involved. But like every other project that exists, it's always smart contract risk, right? We all run into it. No matter what you want to interact with, you cannot get away from it. It's just something that exists. So right now we're in the process of starting a live mainnet test for people. We have in our Tru2X test group, and you say that 3 times fast. And it will be live. We're limiting the amount of deposits to like 50,000 pulse. It's like what, $1.50, $2, something like that. And people participate. It's just like it's the exact same contract will run on mainnet. If there's anything comes up, like little UI issues we can deal with, people can see how it works. And it'll be just the same thing. Now, the only thing we might not have is like major SRE contributions, because we'll just be, running, our own personal monies just to help simulate that in percentages. But the 1XR will run, everything will run, so people can see how it works. And we anticipate people in the 10 or 12 days it runs to get at least 1-2X.
That was one question I had. Are there limits?
Yes. All right. So there's a limit to deposits on the mainnet. This was just for the sake of the testing. We're limited just to 50,000 pulse, just to keep, because it's real money. That's why.
Right.
Once it's gone, it's gone. We can't pull it out of the contract. Once we shut the contract off, that's it. That limited pulse is gone forever. But we are compensating people who participate in other ways with True Shares at launch. That was part of the promotional thing to do it. But the limits are 1 billion pulse per wallet. That's your limit per wallet. Now you can multiple wallets, and the daily cap is we're looking. It will probably be around 15 to 20 billion pulse at this stage, and that's something we can adjust a little bit because we don't want people not to be able to participate, but we want too many people to participate. So we don't want like 1 trillion pulse coming in. That's not going to work. It's just too much. It's too heavy in the system. Right. So we will keep it down. I personally would rather see people, if they have a lot of pulse, put over several days. They will appreciate it more, and the system would work way better. We just know it would if they have that much pulse, because they would, they may add another couple of weeks of to get their 2Xs, but all in all, though, it would help the system just make it run more smoothly.
Awesome.
And you have up to 20 miners too per deposit. So, and the reason we did that is
about a card. What is that?
Yeah. So let me see if let me pull one up, and I'll share my screen. What it looks like. I did videos.
Did we talk about limits when the protocol's live? Like what's the max minimum a person can put in?
Yeah, 1 billion is max per wallet.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's the deal. Now, and there's a maximum. Each wallet can have a maximum of 500 miners, and the miners are basically dividing your main deposit by up to 20 per miner. And we do that it's for the systems. It's for choke points. Just when you have a lot of stuff going through a contract, there's just a lot of things.
When the protocol goes live, will it be available to everybody at the same time, or will there be people? Yeah.
There's no hurry to get in.
Gets in early.
All right, so no. There's no hurry. It's day one starts as day one starts, but you have 24 hours to make a deposit. So it's not like you have to be in the first 5 minutes. It doesn't matter.
Okay, 24-hour window.
Yes.
And within that 24-hour window, is there a time ranking of when you press the button or no?
Nope.
Okay. Yeah.
So how it works on a technical level,
like Unity.
Yeah.
Unity
on a technical level, you have 24 hours for all the activity to happen. At the end of 24 hours, the computations go through, right? And then the next day starts. So you have that. So wherever you are, and if we hit the cap, well, then we have a like a random number, a random selector that some of the deposits won't go through. They'll be randomly picked. That hey, we have too many deposits. We hit our cap. You have to wait till tomorrow. And so we do have that, but we're trying to make sure that doesn't happen. But again, we want to make sure that the people who are participating, you don't have a heavy day, because it takes that much longer for everybody to 2X on that day if you have too heavy of a day.
Makes sense.
I'm looking for a card. Pictures.
I like your plan to unponzi the Ponzi.
That's the goal. That is the goal. I mean, look, we all know that almost 99% of crypto is Ponzi, right? My Ponzi is better than your Ponzi. We all laugh about it and talk about it. It's just, and it's a fact. And I understand that why people, but because we're not trying to sell you anything as far as like, here, buy my thing, No, here's a service, do the thing. So it's different. We're not trying to ask you for your money and give you something of lesser value or whatever. It's like, no, here's a service that you can utilize with a way to get out if you want to at a certain point before you're too committed. Which I don't think any system has that, at least that has any type of mining type protocol. So, all right, let me show you this card here. Let me see. Let me share screen. Here. Okay. All right. I can try to zoom in on it, or is that? Let me see. There we go.
That's better.
Yeah, you can see it now. Okay. So here, this was one of these are our miner cards that come up, and everybody will have this miner card. And so up here you have, you can't even see my mouse. Anyway, at the top you have the ID number of the card, and then miners and how many miners are associated with this card. This one happened to have one. And the day number of the card was created is below it. So it tells you what day in the system, because we work on every day is a new day. So it's got its own unique ID and everything like that. And then below it, you have the X factor in 1.9900. That's the X factor that this was at when I took the screenshot. This is the dividends it has accrued in pulse terms. It's 99,000.5, pulse was accrued on this particular card in dividends. So this means I deposited 50,000 pulse, and it's going to double on the 2X at 100,000 on this probably day 4 in this particular case. So people will have this, and they can make decisions based upon what they want to do and how they want to manage their miners. So let's say you put in, say, $1,000, but you want to take in some of that pretty quickly, say half of it. I want to get my money back. So as soon as you 2X, now you get 2,000, you got your 1,000 back, okay, and everything else is house money. So maybe you take that other, you may want to divide it and say 2. Now you have 250 now that was going to go into 500 each, and maybe you want to take one of those and auto compound, let it roll to the next time. Another you want to take out or something like that. And these are reasons you would want to have multiple miners. Or let's say you're in day 100 and you have a bunch of miners, and something happens, you need to get rid of exit a few because your car breaks down, you have plumbing issues, you need to call a plumber. Well, if you want to, you don't have to kill your whole bag. You can only get, say, 10% of your bag. You can exit and take those proceeds out and go pay your plumber or whatever, and the rest can keep going. So you don't have to nuke your whole bag. And that was the concept of miners, and why to make it more flexible for people who have lots of wallets and maybe lots of miners out there to liquidate as they need to. And below
in this system, you either have a miner or you don't. So
correct.
So there's no ability to, if I had 10 different miners in there, to go and scrape the yield off of those 10 miners.
No.
Okay.
There's no yield scraping. There's now what happens with the auto compound function, you would have a whole bunch of miner cards and that were running on different days, right? So if I auto compounded this and it was going through the system, I would have a whole bunch of smaller miners that would take the dividends. Like these dividends right here would then be put back into the system, deployed as new miners, and run by themselves. And eventually you get to a point, there's a minimum, I think it's like 5,000 pulse minimum per dividend, a miner. So that's just like the smallest unit.
So it basically creates yourself a ladder of miners.
Correct. And you can utilize it as ladders, or let's say if you want to say, I have $1,000, I want a 2X. Well, if you auto compound, you actually 2X faster than everybody else, because all your dividends you're earning are earning yield too. So let's say you start on day X and say 20 days later, you're set to 2X. If you did do anything, if you auto compound it may be 3 days ahead of time. You take all those dividends you've earned and all their miners, liquidate them all, they would equal to the same double had you waited 3 more days, say organically, without compounding. So right. Compounding is a way to accelerate the time to 2X by whatever percentage and wherever you are in the system in any given day. How much we can't, it'll vary, but it will accelerate it nonetheless, because your dividends aren't sitting static; they're being put to work. But they still have to double. So if you pull your dividends out, you put in the 10,000, you have to wait till it at least gets breaks even in its time before those 10,000s can be taken back out, or wait till they double. The choice is yours.
Okay.
And below this collector compound, this is where you would you call up a window and say, hey, I want to collect my yield, my 2X or wherever X you are, or you can compound either manually or automatically, or say set this miner. Let's say this miner was at a 0.35X. Say I want my money back. You'd set it to the miner buyback button, and then it would then the next day be delivered to you. All your money be back in your wallet, or it's delivered back to straight to your wallet, and that miner is then purchased by the system and put into the 1X rotation miners.
You gonna have any kind of graphics, Neil, like Look Into Hex kind of does, where you have how many different miners or dollar value is that on the road to the 2X?
That's on the roadmap. We're at MVP stage just to get the product out.
Yeah, I'm just wondering.
It's coming. We have some ideas, and I talked to Crispman about it once, about concepts like building graphics and data and stuff. So we'll have something that shows this. We'll have the stats for this. There's a stats page. Well, let me see if I have. Let me see here. If I have that, I'll show you what the stats show. Let's see if I got one.
Checks my pulse. We are never saying on this show that there's no way to lose your tokens. We are never ever going to say that. This is a DeFi space, and anything can happen. But what we are here to show is the team that's behind this. And Neil's been here for a very long time. He shows his face on streams. He's not a blinking emoji in the center of our screen. So just take that in a note, bud.
Yeah. When we launch, we have like I said, we have a live testing phase that's about to commence. And when it's over, it'll last about 2 weeks roughly. And then as soon as it's over, however long it takes for us to basically reset the system and then get all our final security things done on the servers and stuff, then we'll launch. So that's the best I can tell you. But again, it just takes time to do all this. You all know, you have to spin up servers, do all your security stuff, make sure everything's working right. It just takes its time. But we're excited too. We want it out. We're not. I'm just trying to find another video. I mean, another. I don't have one handy that would show data, but anyway, at the top of on the UI, there is. I have a video on this. You can go to my YouTube. I have videos showing this. The UI does show data. What's going on the current day? How many shares are available to purchase for users? How much has been deposited up to a certain point and stuff like that, because that's important data, especially later on when people do say stop using it or they got their money or they've left. There'll be days where there'll be a lot of shares available and few users. And those days, if you make a big deposit and you get most of the shares, what would happen is it makes your time to 2X a little bit shorter than everybody else because you own most of the shares in one day. So it means all that yield that day gets, you get the majority of it, thus speeding your 2X time up. We call it sniping. Trying to find days that are light, you become like the whale of that day. That kind of concept.
Interesting strategy.
It's like the adoption amplifier.
Yes, very similar. That's one of the motivations to build it that way. That the adoption amplifier was very influential in our decision making on that. It's something that would happen later. Like at first, it'd be too many people in there competing, so you wouldn't have a.
It's going to be a bell curve, bud, right? It's 100% going to be a bell curve.
Oh yeah, we anticipated
days.
We anticipate it happening, and we're looking forward to it because then we 2X faster. That's what happens. So that's kind of what we want to. We'll be excited to use it ourselves because we're using it, and therefore we will 2X faster with our own stuff. So, please leave. At a certain point, y'all. All right, go. Y'all made too much money. Go. So nice. It's kind of a funny thing, but that's how we're building it, and it's different. I think it's gonna be a different thing that exists on Pulse Chain, and I don't know of any other type of auction house model that's out there that's on Pulse Chain. I just don't know of any that's, unless it came and went and I missed it. I'm excited.
Very, very cool. If you guys have any questions, Neil's info is in the description of this video. His Telegram room, his Twitter profile, and the Tru2X profile is in the description of this video. So go visit the Telegram room, ask any questions that we may not have answered here on stream. We're at like 400 views right now, so that's kind of cool. But any other stuff that you would like to end with, guys?
Anything else, Neil?
I think I appreciate the time, guys, and invite me
Any
on.
closing thoughts?
I would say this: you don't have enough pulse. Just think about that. You don't have enough pulse, and it's on sale right now. Just be smart, because if you can double it pretty quickly, you might be better off than playing a trading game or whatever else. So that's how I would leave it. Just, you don't have enough pulse.
Yeah, very good, very good. How about you, Mr. Abdoul?
I just want to remind everybody that I have a contest right now for Vault, about $6,000 potentially in prizes. The main requirement being that you join the Telegram room. So yeah, it's
put your Telegram room in the chat.
Done. So there's you'll see some memes. There's a meme contest as well, but the Telegram thing will it'll be a draw. There's not that many people in there. Your odds are better than the lottery, I assure you.
Oh, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. I also have a Telegram room to shill. You got it? All right, there we go. The room for Coinwell is up and running. Please come and visit that. We are through with audits. We're in testing,
nice.
And we're doing a lot of really, really cool things. So if you guys would like to get some more additional info on what Coinwell is going to bring, I think it would be a good place to visit. All right,
everybody join all the rooms.
Yes, join, share all the things, get the word out of all the things. We need adoption for the chain. Who knows? Maybe Coinwell's a thing people want to see. Hey, look, cool. And that's out there in the crypto space. So I have a question, fast. So the whole fault thing, how are you getting by with the trademark of the artwork?
Well, the artwork on the logo has been modified specifically, right? You see there's a little guy with a beard that looks kind of like Richard Hart. That is similar to what you see other places. But I made inquiries mostly with AI of does this pass the smell test for for copyright infringement, and it does. You can't copyright a guy wearing a blue shirt. You can't copyright the picture of a vault door. I'm gonna have to go through some of the details to make sure that terms are removed. You guys are probably both familiar with your video game. For example, just the name of like the vault company and stuff, right? Like it's Vault 369, right? That's not the same as something that's used in any game or franchise specifically, that kind of thing. So I think it's we should be good there. But if I had to change something else to make that work, that'd be fine. But I'm pretty sure the color green is not copyrighted, the color blue is not copyrighted, and pictures of guys in blue shirts with beards also not copyrighted.
Some blues are copyrighted.
What's that?
Some blues, some colors are you can copy. You can seize colors.
Oh yeah, and the ridiculous things that they copyright.
Ferrari red, for example.
Which red? Ferrari
red.
Oh really? Okay. Yeah. So I can't even use Ferrari red in a picture, or I just can't use it on a car.
It is. I think it is their jam.
Who knows? I think that could be a great make a Ferrari red meme coin using the exact color as an Undocs founder, and let Ferrari come after you and talk about it. That might work.
Yeah, that would be awesome. All right, you guys, I'm going to try to play a video from a file. And this is a video that of a song that I wrote, and Rip City put all the AI voice and graphics together for it. So much appreciated, Mr. AJ, who's in chat. So we will go out on a different video this week. So let me just see if I can do this.
Cool. I've heard of this video. I'm not getting volume though. Are you, Neil?
A little bit.
Myself today
Oh, there
it is.
to see if I still care. I focus on the gains, but know that I'm wrecked. Red candles tear a hole where my heart used to be. I try to DCA, but the charts, they still bleed. What have I become? I had diamond hands. The profit that I had blows with the sands, and you could have it all. My empire is wrecked. All my bags down. I will make you gag.
Very sad.
I wear this conference badge to prove I was there, preaching to the choir. No one really cares. Beneath these bullish posts is a worried wife. Don't you worry, hun, these gains will change our life. What have I become? I had diamond hands. The profit that I had blows with the sands, and you could have it all. My empire is wrecked. All my bags down. I will make you gag.
Guys, we had some bad days in the past week.
If I could buy again under 50 grand, I'd have my same bags. We will find a way.
We're going to end it with that. You guys. Have a great week. We'll talk to you soon. Next week with Fast Abdoul and I interviewing somebody else.